Hey viewers, Marcus here from Topic Tech Gaming, and today we're reviewing Final Fantasy Type 0 HD. Type 0 HD is an HD port of what was originally known as Final Fantasy Agito 13, part of the Fabula Nova Crystallis project, which is Latin for the new tale of the crystal. The game originally released on the PSP in Japan. Square-Enix heard their fans begging to localize it and finally brought it over to us. But was it worth the wait?
We have arrived.
It's not your typical Final Fantasy game. However, anyone who has played Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII for the PSP would recognize the playstyle almost immediately. Unlike Crisis Core, this game is party-based, allowing you to play as multiple characters through the whole story. A hack-and-slash RPG of sorts, this game requires a little more than just button mashing. You have to dodge and roll out of the way, learn enemy attacks, and wait for the perfect opportunity to strike them critically if you want to do major damage. These are known as break sites. Along with that, you have kill sites, which when pulled off allow you to deal an instant death blow. With 14 playable characters, you will be level grinding, replaying missions, spending time in the battle simulator, and doing quests just to level everyone up. Nothing is worse than hitting a sudden difficulty spike, which does happen frequently, and wiping all of your high-level characters when nearly finished to be left with nothing but the one character you neglected to level up.
Is this the power of a lassie?
Fortunately, random encounters will sometimes ask if you want to keep fighting, which will help speed up the leveling process. Each character is named after the Japanese pronunciation of playing cards, with the exception of two characters named Machina and Rem. Each character wields their own unique weapon and playstyle, and you will definitely end up playing some of your favorites more than others. From Ace, who wields tarot cards like the X-Men Gambit, Trey's bow, Seise's scythe, all the way up to swords and handguns from Queen and King respectively. You are sure to find a character you really enjoy playing as most. Outside of weapons, you have magic and eidolons, or summons, that you can level up in one fashion or another. This game focuses on war, so it makes sense most of it will take place in the battle screen. Occasionally, there will be real-time strategy events taking place on the overworld.
What?
Yes, that's right, an overworld. I was happy and surprised when I found myself dropped into it. There hasn't been an overworld since Final Fantasy IX. While I'm not a fan of RTS-style battles, these battles were so few and far between that I'm okay with the amount of them that were in this game. As I mentioned before, there are multiple characters you can switch to while playing. This made it really difficult to grow attached to characters based on character development, as everything was far too stretched out between everyone. But if this game did have main characters, it would be Machina and Rem. The story seems to fixate on these two. The plot of the story is familiar yet fresh. There are 4 crystals, each being guarded and protected by 4 kingdoms. When the Emperor of the Kingdom of the Militesi Empire goes missing, the Imperial Marshal Cid takes up the command of the kingdom and declares war on the other 3 nations. All looks grim for the nation of the Fire Crystal, when suddenly an elite group of cadets known as Class 0 rise up seemingly out of the flames of war and push back the Empire. The 14 playable characters make up Class 0, an elite group of high school-age students at their school, Academia. Without spoiling the story, Class 0 rises up against the invading Militesi Empire. The story that unfolds in the process is rich and full of unexpected events, death, plot twists, and surprises. That is, if you're willing to read, and read some more, and watch a cutscene that doesn't exactly make sense to you, find some obscure side quests that fill some holes.
I couldn't read all these if I read for the rest of my life, yo.
I read quickly. I could read them all if I live long enough.
Oh, and to really get the whole story, you have to play through it a second time on a New Game Plus mode. But this is what Japanese RPGs used to be like. Lots of reading, talking to the NPCs, and replaying it just to see if you may have missed one little nugget of information. The story itself is amazing. It plays on the theme of war and how we send our young to fight our battles. In fact, the game is so focused around death that you will learn really early into the story that when someone dies, memories of them cease to exist. The crystals wipe those memories from everyone, to prevent them from grieving and hurting from the pain of loss.
The crystals allow us to forget the people who died, but the memories of the events that happened remain with us. I still have the knowing tags. I kept the ones from everyone in the village.
Anyone who goes off to battle leaves behind a knowing tag, which is essentially a dog tag. If they have someone's dog tag and they don't recall who they are, that means someone close to them died and their memories have been erased. It's a sad thought, and the story will weaken you with that fact, right before delivering a shocking blow like seeing a young girl get shot. It really helps drive home how devastating war is. And with war comes spilled blood. This game has lots of it. When it comes to Final Fantasy and blood, it's extremely rare. And when I say extremely, the only time I can recall blood in Final Fantasy is the blood trail in the Shinra building of Final Fantasy VII, or the opening cutscene to Final Fantasy VIII. Type 0 takes it to a whole new level. After all, it is about war and those sacrificed to fight it.
I'm right here.
By the end of even your first playthrough, the final bit of story will have you in awe.
It's too late.
I know that.
No. I don't want to die.
The audio for this game has been overhauled as well. The music is phenomenal. Remixes of the Final Fantasy staples with a Crisis Core feel lend just the right tone of war to the soundtrack. The voice acting, however, is hit or miss. Some voice actors either overacted or underacted.
Hey, guys! I don't believe we've met.
Huh? Who are you?
I was sure until this game nothing was more annoying than hearing a Moogle talk and end each sentence with Kupo.
No, Kubo. No, Lin, Kubo. But besides, I do have a proper name, Kubo. What is it?
I can name all 4 crystal states in Orients, yo!
But here I stand corrected. The character 9 ended nearly every sentence with yo.
What the hell did you just say? You want a piece of me, punk? Hey, yo!
9? That's enough!
There are points where the voice acting is spot on. Thankfully, most of these are during really important plot points. If you can look past the fact that it looks like you're watching an English dubbed Japanese movie, where the mouths keep moving long after the audio stops, you will enjoy the vocal narration, for the most part.
Sorry I'm late.
Most of the time, the controls felt good. The camera looked like a fast action movie camera pan, even when turning just a little bit. While many people found this annoying, I think from a design standpoint it was intentional and added in to make the player feel like they were right in the middle of a frantic war zone. It added a fast-paced, frenzied tone to the game. Occasionally, the camera would be obstinate or my targeting cursor wouldn't focus on the enemy I wanted, but I got used to working around that. While the game is an HD port, I wouldn't quite say everything made the HD cut. It's obvious within the first few hours of the game, those important to the story look better than those who don't. Unimportant characters seem to be edgy, had blurry faces, or the textures just didn't scale well, and didn't receive the same attention as Class Zero's cadets. The best graphics overhaul, in my personal opinion, came to the environment. Marble floors and glass surfaces had a nice shine and reflection. Lightning effects from energy, crystals, and even the sunlight were pretty good. The jump to cutscenes felt disconnected because they felt like they were from a different palette, but even then they looked amazing. All in all though, I felt Square-Enix had given last year's HD remaster of Final Fantasy X more attention. It looks great, but it barely pushes next gen. I'd go as far as saying it looks last gen. This game offers lots to do, but sometimes at a cost. In between missions, you have a set amount of hours before mission day that you can fill however you like. If you were to go up and talk to someone with an exclamation above their head, you can easily use up 2 hours from your free time just talking to that NPC, but sometimes you may get an item, backstory, or even a quest out of it. If you pick up a quest that requires you to leave academia, you will lose 6 hours just leaving. Don't accidentally step back in, as you will need to spend more time to leave. Always have a plan and explore your options first. As mentioned before, there is a second playthrough. This will allow you to really get everything you may have run out of time for. Some of the content is only achievable on the second playthrough, in fact. The extensive amount of content in the game just comes in the form of replayability. Whether or not this is your thing will determine just how much you get out of this game. If you are the type of person who likes to power through the main mission and don't care about the sidelines much, you won't find a whole lot of content to appreciate. If you play a game and power through disregarding much of the story and simply play for the mechanics, you may grow tired of this game halfway through. This game is really set on telling a story and requires the player to care enough to learn about the world created for it. Personally, I play games for the storyline, which is why I have always been so fond of Japanese RPGs. I love escaping to a game's world and learning as much as I can, much like a good book. I enjoyed this game, as confusing as it may have been at times, but when I got confused, I looked for the answer and pieced it together. This game was solid if you keep in mind that it was originally a PSP game, and that it's part of the Fabula Nova Crystallis project. If you hadn't figured it out already, that means Final Fantasy XIII and the sequels were also born from that. Overall, I give this game an 8 out of 10. A few things could have made this game better. A better presentation of the story without the information overload, more care to the graphics, and removing the linear feeling of the gameplay. But Final Fantasy Type 0 HD is a solid title, and I highly recommend checking it out if you're a fan of the franchise. This month, Topic Tech Gaming is giving away one free copy of Final Fantasy Type 0 HD. If you would like a chance to win this game, like this video, comment on why you would love a chance to play the game, and what you thought of my review. Most importantly, you have to subscribe. 3 things: like, comment, subscribe, easy as that. This has been Marcus with Topic Tech Gaming, thanks for watching.